La personne connaît la victoire pour respect la vie pour les droits.
La Femen, Mano Charlemagne, here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. Mano Charlemagne, known as the great folk singer in Haiti, was also the mayor of Port-au-Prince for a time. We are talking to Peter Hallward. He is the author of Damming the Flood, Haiti, Aristide, and the Politics of Containment. When we were traveling through Port-au-Prince, Nantes to Carrefour Grecier to Léogâne after the earthquake, the word was coming down that the UN-US were not going to move out into what was really the epicenter of the quake until security was guaranteed, which we found shocking because people were just covered in cement ash, scratching at the rubble, digging, trying to find their grandparents and their children and their neighbors. What about this issue of security?
It's unbelievable. I mean, and your report that you filed from the hospital, you know, what was it now, 10, 15, more like 2 weeks ago, it was an incredible situation. Basically, anything that couldn't be cordoned off behind a security perimeter was simply abandoned. People were simply left to die. So Carrefour, you know, very close to the epicenter, very poor neighborhood, as you know, packed with people, was basically just left to its own devices for, I don't think any aid of virtually any description arrived for 10 days after the earthquake. So, very cynical. You know, this happened at every level. It happened in terms of where the rescue teams went. They went to a few places like the Montana Hotel, the Caribe supermarket, the UN headquarters, where you had a secure perimeter where mainly wealthy people were among the victims, and where you could work, so you know, in a secure environment. And pretty much everywhere else was simply abandoned. And it happened with the hospitals. It happened with the distribution of aid. I mean, you know, also it happened in terms of what the international response was initially. Rather than send the help that was needed, they instead secured the airport. They sent thousands of troops who basically did virtually nothing. You have a situation where what is urgently required is to enlist Haitian people to distribute, you know, its essential supplies, water, food, and so on. Instead, you have thousands of Marines hanging, you know, patrolling the city with armed to the teeth, you know, for no purpose. It's incredible, and it's grounded in, unfortunately, in one of the fundamental structural tendencies of Haitian political life, particularly in the last 25 years or so, when you've had a political mobilization of people that can only be solved from the elite's perspective with military means. And this goes right back to the history of Haiti, as you know, it was established as a colony designed to extract the maximum amount of wealth from slave labor, and it was extremely successful at that. It was more profitable than the whole of the United States combined at the time of American independence.
Explain that.
So it was generating, you know, more than half. It was by far the largest supplier of coffee, sugar, you know, the big commodities of the time, also hardwoods, various other things. And it generated more revenue for France in the 1780s than all of the North American colonies combined. So it was really an extraordinarily lucrative, very concentrated wealth generator in the 18th century. And it worked because you had a very brutal system of exploitation, almost 500,000 slaves, a very small number of white plantation owners, a few people in the middle. And this system worked to extract just vast amounts of profits. It was really exceptionally brutal even by colonial standards. It meant this death rate was so high that by the time the Haitian slaves rose up against the system in 1791, most of the slaves that participated in that rebellion were born in Africa. You know, they never managed to create a system like they did in the southern United States, where the slave economy was self-replicating, where you could basically grow your own slaves locally. And this meant that the original security problem in Haiti, the plantation system, where you maintain order by, you know, simply massive, brutal levels of violence, had to be redesigned after the revolution, because the revolution was successful, and the people who won that revolution were determined to avoid a return to the plantation system. So in Haiti, really unlike most other places in the world, certainly unlike most of Latin America, the tendency towards the concentration of big farms and the expropriation of small holdings and of peasant farms didn't really happen in Haiti, which meant that small farmers were able to hold on to their farms, resisted tendencies that would have pushed them in other places into slums in the cities, where they would have been exploited basically in factories and so on. That happened much later in Haiti, and it only happened to a relatively limited extent. So you then have to look at, well, how did that, and basically in the 20th century there have been a couple of key episodes that allowed that process to accelerate a little bit and generated new security problems.
I'm going to interrupt because we've reached Kim Ives in Haiti. Kim Ives is a journalist with the newspaper Haiti Liberté. He's joining us online from Port-au-Prince. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Kim. You're returning now for the second time after the earthquake. What have you found?
Well, things have changed a lot since we were here, Amy. There is the massive destruction that we saw, but it has begun to be cleaned up. It's a real testament to the resilience of people. The vultures are arriving, however. They are mostly in the form now of the security forces who are driving around with the mainstream media, with various construction companies from the U.S., which are looking to set up. I'm getting tremendous feedback. I'm not sure if there's anything that can be done to resolve that.
We're trying to fix it, to turn off the feedback back to Kim. But Kim, just keep talking. We'll try to do this as long as we can. It's been almost impossible to reach you this morning. We can hear you pretty well.
I know. That's the... Okay, very good. I'll do my best. That's the problem here, is a lot of the infrastructure is not in place. The phones are still spotty and difficult. But I should just say that the horrors continue. As yesterday out at St. Gerard in the Carrefour area, there's a tremendous hole in the ground where they've buried 240 people. It's not covered. The stench coming from it is tremendous. A young boy at St. Gerard explained how the school had fallen down in his classmates, killing 40 of them, and the University of St. Gerard across the street had fallen, killing 200 students. It's a horror, and at the same time, the people are returning to commerce. Restaurants are opening. American Airlines has started to fly again. Electricity is back on. People are trying to survive, Amy, through a scavenging, mostly. You see the National Council of Equipment is destroying lots of sites. Mostly schools is what they're starting with. You see people all over trying to get the rebar, aluminum, copper wire is particularly prized. That sells for $1 a pound. The aluminum sells for about 7 cents a pound. So you can see, yet when we were out 2 days ago watching the Teleco building raised, the Teleco security people came out, began to chase away the scavengers with guns, whipping them, beating them. It was a very tense scene.
Kim,
nobody was shot.
Kim, we're having trouble understanding you. Kim, if you could go as close as you can to the microphone on your computer. We haven't been able to reach you by cell phone or any other way, and we're trying this by audio Skype, but you're coming in and out. Maybe if you go as close as you can to the computer microphone. Kim.
Okay, well, I've got the mic right to my face now. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, a little better.
I think it's the... Okay.
No, that
I think it's the internet, which is, again, is very... in any case, the other element you should be aware of is the response of the population, the hostility of the population. NGOs which have come here, you see Haiti everywhere, announcing their presence in the country.
Kim, we're going to have to try this tomorrow because it's just not audible enough. We sometimes hear you and we sometimes don't. But what we do hear is very interesting. We're going to try to get complete sentences out tomorrow. Kim Ives is a journalist with the newspaper Haiti Liberté, joining us online from Port-au-Prince. Very difficult still to get through. We're also joined by Peter Hallward. His book is called Damming the Flood, Haiti, Aristide, and the Politics of Containment. He talked about the vultures. He talked about